Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. This is Legit Agents. Today we're gonna have a fun one for you right out of the gate, something super valuable we think you should all know, and it's gonna be the top 5 things you should not be doing as a real estate agent. Top 5 fails.
Let's check it out. What's up, guys? We are the Legit Agents. I am Eli Schmidt. This is my business partner, Will Grimes. And if it's your first time visiting our channel, subscribe below, hit that little button, hit that notification bell as well to get notified every Tuesday and Thursday when we drop a new video. And guys, we cover everything there is to know about building a personal brand as a real estate agent, being a professional as a real estate agent, and overall just learning how to be better and do better out there.
And then build your brand. And we do release videos every Tuesday and Thursday, so that subscription will be huge for you. And yes, we are licensed brokers. We're out here in the state of Colorado. So as much as we love making these videos, we would love more to help you with your brand and your business needs. So that number popping up below, yes, we are the guys who answer the phone calls and the text messages. That email below, we are the guys who answer the emails. If you're looking to partner up and expand your business, we would love to partner with you. But with that being said, let's get right into the 5 things you should not be doing as an agent.
The number one reason here that you may be failing as a real estate agent, be it a new agent or an experienced agent, is you're in the friend zone. You're not an advisor to your client. You've placed yourself in the friend zone. You're not really sure what to say, when to say it, how to deliver maybe bad news, or tell your clients the way a deal needs to go.
Yeah, or when you are advising, it's things that are just like uber obvious, right? Like when you're walking them through a home and it's like, oh, here's the kitchen. Mm-hmm. Here's the main bedroom.
Yeah,
right.
Primary now.
Here's the primary bedroom. Here's the bathroom. Like, that's not really your job, right? And a lot of what we're going to dive into today on this video and videos moving forward is going to be like, well, hey, Will, yeah, a lot of us do that. We compliment their clothes, or we ask about the weather. We show them where the kitchen is, right? And we don't really. Well, how do you advise? What am I doing at that time when I'm going through a house, or even prior to looking for homes? Like, have you given your client a role, right? So, does your client have a mindset of like, hey, what does this look like, right? We call this a buyer presentation. We'll get into this in other videos moving forward, but start to finish, we have a process where not only we're advising our clients on what our roles and responsibilities are and how we're going to execute it prior and during the process, we also give them roles and things to look forward to and a heads up on the mindset that they should be in when they go through this process. So whether it's looking for homes online, to looking at homes in person, to submitting offers, to, oh my gosh, congratulations, our offer got accepted, but oh my gosh, we just bought a house. No, you didn't, right? For example, and just letting them know, hey, once we are in the contract, what phases do we go through during that process to where, hey, we're not married to the home. And these are the things that we're going to go through prior to that. And if everything is great and satisfactory, then you do buy a home. Just during that process, it gets very emotional. The number one thing is having a process in the first place. If you don't have that and you lack that, then you tend to not know what you should be doing yourself, which means what? We talk about the weather, we talk about here's the kitchen, or we let a client go on a rant, or we let a client kind of dictate circumstances like, well, here's what I'm willing to pay for a home when they're walking through it. Or just letting that client dictate. Not good. I know I'm elaborating a little bit, but the bottom line is you're not comfortable in your role as a leader. And a lot of us, unless we own a team, we don't think that we're leaders, and you're wrong, right? Like if you have clients, or your desire is to be an agent and have clients, you're already in a leadership role. So we've got to accept that, put that hat on, prepare ourselves for moving forward with clients.
And guys, just to touch on that a little bit more, hands down, the best way to do that is by what we'll mention, that buyer prezo. Kicking off with that buyer prezo. Now, here's a problem that a lot of you guys are going to face. Be it a new agent or whatever, when you have a client that is a friend or a family member or someone from your sphere, you have a tendency to skirt the process a little bit for whatever reason. If you have a process and you get a friend that comes into it, for some reason, it's like you're skipping the buyer prezo if you do one already anyway. But here's the thing, guys, you have to, especially for your friends and family, stick to the process even more so, because that's how right out of the gate you set yourself as the advisor. From the get-go, meeting number 1, you're telling the client what to do, what's going to happen throughout the process, how they're going to feel, what obstacles might come up, and then they're going to lean on you down the road once those things do start coming up because you set that tone from the get.
Correct. And a lot of us forget this with buyers, right? Like we think, hey, when you list homes, we list a lot of homes. That's a little bit more stringent because that's the person paying for you and a buyer agent. It almost feels like there's more of a sit down meeting when you go through like how to list and prep a home for a listing and all that good stuff. Same thing on that buy side, right? Like, they're not paying for you, but you could cost them a home. They could cost themselves a home if they're not prepped, right? So super important that, hey, even with buyers, we've got to sit down and just set expectations, roles, and responsibilities moving forward. All right, guys, number 2, and it's kind of a segue from number 1 as far as like why you're not comfortable. Well, number 2, you aren't educated on the process, right? You guys love my notes?
Yep.
You aren't educated on the process and like, well, hey, all this stuff sounds great, but like, what is the process and how are we doing that? Like, yep, myself and Eli, we've got a significantly large YouTube channel. We've got a significantly large team. We were top 1% and top 0.5% worldwide for Berkshire Hathaway before breaking off and going national with EXP. Yes, we have a ton of success there. Prior to our YouTube channel ever crushing, everything we did was teaching our agents how to be subject matter experts and professionals at the process and the experience for clients, which brought 2 to 3 closed referrals on average every single client that was closing on a home. So not an email from someone, not a phone number from someone, literally 2 to 3 closed referrals from one closed person, right? So super good. But again, you've got to have that process in order to understand what your role is in the first place. And you've got to practice that, have some understanding, right? Have some education behind it. So when I am in front of clients, I'm comfortable in my own skin because I understand what I'm doing in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Now, guys, with this, you may hear this, that you're not educated in the process and think, I've done real estate. I know how to close a deal. I know how the process goes. Here's the thing, guys. You need to dive into the little processes within the process. And if you're not advising your client on those, then I would venture to say you're probably not educated on the process. So, for example, diving into inspections on that buyer prezo, and you're telling your client about what inspections they're going to need. Are you familiar with all the inspections that you need in your area and why you need them? Are you familiar with the nuances of all those little things? Are you familiar with homeowners insurance and floodplains and how those affect homeowners insurance? Are you familiar with the appraisal process? Have you taken any appraisal classes? We're not big on like CE and just education for the sake of education. However, guys, it is important to dive into some specialized classes. For example, I took an appraisal class. It was extremely helpful. Now I can help educate and advise my clients as far as that goes. So when he's talking about being educated throughout the process, guys, it is much deeper than just the surface level. Hey, we're writing offers, we're getting them accepted, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, and it's not just so you know what you're doing for the sake of you. It's the delivery of the education to your customer. They're only going through this either this is the very first time they're selling and buying a home, or the first time they're buying a home, or hey, they've been through it a couple times, but we're assuming that they understand and they retained it from 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago, the last time that they went through this process. There's going to be a lot of things. Like right now in Denver, you're getting appraisal gaps from $50,000 to $100,000, over asking price with appraisal gaps. Like, you don't think that's different for a buyer? Just because they bought 10 years ago doesn't necessarily mean they're educating the market. So this is also where you earn your value and where you get a lot of referrals. Sometimes we know what we're doing. How well do you convey to your client what you're doing? And then how well do you convey to your client about a process, right? Super important, must need it. And again, it's going to help you be the advisor during. If you're trying to educate a client on being competitive and how to be competitive when submitting an offer, when it's time to write an offer, and you get those 2 to 3 hour windows where people are submitting offers and it's getting competitive and we're having our lender call and we're getting callbacks with the counter and what to do with that. If you're trying to educate them in that moment when they're very emotional and man, the race is on and the bids are on, it's going to sound like you're talking them into something. And if it sounds like you're talking them into something, right, and they're on the fence, they're going to play it safe and they're going to pass. And they might even not only pass on that house, they might pass on you for what you're doing in your behavior. But if I prep them prior to even looking at homes, once we're in that moment, we can have poise, we can be calm and cool and collective, and I can reflect and remind them to remember how we spoke about this process and how they're going to feel and how to combat it and work through it and make sure that we're successful, and reminding them that we're not married to the home. This is to just win an offer, and that means, hey, if the home is worth what they say it's worth, and if it's in the condition they say it's in and it's satisfactory, then we have a deal. But if not, hey, there's several different phases where we can pull our earnest money back and save and protect our earnest money. If you don't understand for where you're at and where you live, how you can protect earnest money, and hey, Will, what are those phases where I can get earnest money back for a client and it not be at risk? Well, 1, terms and conditions of your contract. 2, there is traditional phases where you can fall out of contract and not lose your earnest money. If you're not educated on those, You need to be working on yourself and your own process and your own education before you try to execute with clients.
All right, guys, number 3, in my opinion, one of the most important ones here, and that is not managing your clients' emotions. And on top of that, you're riding the roller coaster with them.
Yeah, so when clients are super happy, you're super happy. But then when they're super scared and upset, you're super scared and upset.
Yeah.
First and foremost, it's not your job. This is not your time to be happy or sad or overly happy or overly sad. This is your time as a professional to navigate. You've got to be that quarterback that's got poise. You're calm, you're cool, collective in the pocket, and you're still educating and you're still executing on deals. So for an example, we've got a couple of private Facebook groups. And if you guys would ever want to jump into those, let us know or throw us, that
Link
phone number.
below, Legit Agents, Private Real Estate Group, Facebook.
There you go. We get a lot of comments in there, and one of the comments was a lady had to go tell her clients that they did not win the offer, and she was like, man, I know they were going to be super upset. I was having to hold myself back from crying because I knew they were going to cry, and then she was crying, and I wanted to cry. Look, first and foremost, when a market gets super competitive, you're never going to know all the time where their offers come in at. If listing agents have permission, they decide to share some of that information, hey, that's great because then nobody's wasting their time. And if you can submit an offer that's competitive, great. And if you can't, you save a lot of energy. However, not all the time is that going to happen. And even if they do share some information, there might be 3 or 4 other offers in there that are super competitive with yours, right? The main thing you focus on when you have no control over other offers or how someone's going to pick an offer is you can control where you come in at, right? So, hey, what are you in that home for? And you explain appraisal gaps, you explain escalation clauses, you explain, hey, if we're going to go $50,000 over, but we don't need an appraisal gap, what does that look like on my mortgage, right? Am I speaking to my lender? Are we all being proactive with some of that education so a client can focus on, hey, if someone wants to throw a ton of money at this house, I'm not in it for that. But here's what I am in it for, and here's what I'm okay with. And if that's the deal for them, and hey, we're super excited. And if someone wants to come in super crazy over the top and throw a ton at this house, way more than I'm in it for, hey, cool. And if someone throws a penny more than I'm doing right here with this appraisal gap and this escalation clause and this offer, hey, that's okay. I'm okay to pass. And being in a great position with your buyer, knowing what you are in it for, prevents a lot of the emotional struggle if they don't get their offer accepted. But they get their hopes up. You kind of let them get their hopes up, right? You're kind of doing this with them, and you're super high when you're looking at homes. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And they get emotionally attached to the house, and hey, what else can we do to win this home? Right? And the love letters start coming out, or hey, you can't do that anymore, that's illegal. But then realtors start speaking to listing agents verbally with a love letter, and they start speaking stories and trying to win some things over. The bottom line is control what you can control. What are you in the home for? What are you prepared? You should never lose an offer, okay? If someone beats you because they got a way higher offer price and they can cover a way bigger gap than you and all that stuff, you didn't lose. They just threw a bigger offer at it. But if the only time you lose, right, is if you're not all in on your offer and you did a 75% of what you could have done offer and you lose by a couple grand, yeah, that's a bummer, man. You're walking home with a loss and you just weren't in it. So you've got to be able to make sure you're advising your clients on, hey, what are the intangibles here? What can you change and not change about a home? And what makes it unique? And what makes it the home that you want to live in, right? What makes it a good business decision? In additional to the live situation with their family and they see their kids playing in the backyard, is it also a good business decision because that neighborhood's appreciating 16% and there's a lot of business behind that real estate decision that could enhance their decision to maybe be all in versus not, which will dictate whether you win an offer or whether you don't. But either way, you've got to be focused on the controllables, right, with your side of that deal and your clients. And if not, yeah, it gets very emotional. The bottom line is that agent, she wasn't managing her clients very well. If you let your clients do a lot of this, you're not advising, you're not a professional, and you haven't set clear expectations prior to even getting out and looking at homes, which means it's only going to get worse as you guys move forward. And even if you do close on a house, it's ugly. It's an ugly win, and there's a lot of emotions involved, and it was scary. Like, do you think they're going to refer you or even refer buying a house in the first place to anybody?
No.
Food for thought, right?
Yep. Now, guys, one thing here that helps me a lot is when you're going through that initial presentation with your client, see if you can peg them. Pay attention to what their personality types are. Are they a very detail-oriented, spreadsheet formatted email type of engineer person? Are they very just emotional and excited about the whole thing and kind of scatterbrained? If you can determine what their basic personality traits are, try and peg that, because as you're going through the process, that's going to help you foreshadow a little bit as far as what they might be seeing or feeling. So for example, we've had some clients just last month, very engineer, software, they're both software developers, And we knew this, so we know coming into an inspection, they're going to be really detail-oriented, make sure they've got all their T's crossed, I's dotted. So what did we do? We got on the phone with them the day before the inspection. Hey guys, just a reminder, inspection is tomorrow. Hey, I know we went over all this in our buyer prezo, but again, here's what you can expect. Keep in mind, even on a new build home, that inspector is going to give us a 40-page report. So there's going to be a lot of stuff there. But hey,
and why?
Here's what we're looking for. And why?
It's their job.
Yeah.
It's their job to show you every nook and cranny to that house. It doesn't mean you put that many things onto an inspection objection. It just means like, hey, in the future, if you ever want to know a couple little like tic-tac things about your house that you could improve, great. But the major significant things, one, that's the etiquette for inspection objections. And then two, you know, hey, what to focus on. We've even got our inspectors that grade red, orange, and green as far as like if something is like super important to not very important, but you should know about your home, but no, not significant as far as being concerned with it, right? But just the education prior to them getting that inspection, invaluable.
Yeah, pay attention to that, guys, because that will go a long, long way as far as how the referrals go. Because now, we got on the phone with them the next day, and hey, we got the inspection report now, and they're like, hey, like, yeah, you weren't kidding, there's a lot. But man, there's only like 2 things on there that really are kind of a health and safety thing like you told us about yesterday. That's stuff that we love hearing, guys. That's again, advising your client. That's managing their emotions.
100%. And for the past couple of years, out of every contract that falls out of contract, over 60% of them are because of inspections. Think about that. That means that's your biggest time. If anything's going to fall out of a contract, it's there. But how many times has it fallen out of contract over things that could have been mitigated or weren't necessarily a concern to break a deal, especially in a hot market? But if there's no education behind it, then there's emotion, there's knee-jerk reaction behind it. We make decisions that maybe aren't best, and before you know it, a deal falls through because a seller's prideful, the communication doesn't go well, you're not advising well, you bother a listing agent, or maybe you rub them the wrong way. They're just going to go find another buyer, and like before you know it, man, the deal's just not there. You've got to find a way to be professional. This is not walking or forcing people into any deals. This is just making sure that expectations and education of what to expect in the first place happen prior to being in that moment so they handle it adequately. And then if it is the right thing to move away from that home because that inspection was not satisfactory and people aren't certain, the listing agent or the sellers aren't willing to fix certain things that should be mitigated that you would think are regular, hey, that's okay too, but now we're moving with a level head, and then there's no regret, and then when your client moves on, they don't keep thinking about the house that could have been when you're out looking for the new home. So all of these things are super important. Please understand how much effort and advisement goes into that prior to those circumstances and how well you can advise your clients and keep deals together and continue to get referrals from your clients. All right, guys, number 4, client education / systems and processes. Now, we've gone over a lot of client education. It bled right into number 3 as far as like not only you should be educated, but then how do you deliver the education on the process and expectations to your clients? We've spoken a lot about that, but then, hey, next step with that is going to be systems and processes. How well do you navigate your clients? Eli's going to get into this a little bit as far as like from our YouTube channel, how clients contact us, what sets the stage for giving those expectations, when are they given expectations, and that process, right? But you've got to have a system and a process to keep you consistent with everything, which makes you a professional, right? So getting into that, let's talk about it.
Yeah, guys, just like anything, the cliche saying, if you don't have a plan, you plan to fail. All systems and processes is a plan put into place that you actually execute on. Now, this is where I see most agents, man, new and old. You'll see 20-year agents that don't have systems or processes down, or their system and process is checking their email at a certain time and replying to emails at a certain time, and that's the extent of it. But guys, this goes into everything from a process from when a new person, a new lead, a new customer calls your cell phone, texts your cell phone, calls you from your YouTube channel, responds to an ad from Facebook, whatever it may be. When a new potential client comes in and a contact is made, what happens next? Guys, that should start off a whole domino effect of boom, 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 boom. They go into emails, they're starting to get this, you set up a Zoom call for this, a phone call for this, and da-da-da-da-da. For us, on our YouTube channel, just to give you guys a little rundown of kind of how it works, is we've got call tracking numbers for everything. So every little like marketing piece that we have out there, YouTube channel, whatever, we've got a dedicated phone number for that. So when people call in and they text or they call or they write an email, They're getting a reply back, and essentially we're trying to get them on a Zoom call right away.
And they're getting a response back by real people.
Yes.
Real
Yep.
people answer
No
that
bots.
call.
No
Real
frickin'
people
bots.
text message back, and they're
Yeah.
getting on our calendar. So yes, Will and Eli can get on a Zoom
Yep.
call and have a conversation with
Yeah.
them.
Same with you guys. When you reach out to us, it's just from the client angle. But we jump on a Zoom call. We have a discovery call. We find out their wants and needs, why they're moving to Colorado, and then get them in touch with our lender. And then from there, okay, great. They're getting pre-approved. And then we do a second Zoom call where we go over our entire buyer presentation. That takes about 45 minutes to an hour.
Right.
We go over all of that, and then we get a game plan for when they're actually in town looking at homes, or if they're a local client, when we're going out and actually looking at homes. But there's a system and a process, guys. From there, we've got spreadsheets that integrate with our Gmail. We've got KV Core, our CRM, through our brokerage that we use. That's freaking amazing. So I would say from a bare minimum, guys, you've got to have a process for when clients come in, when they contact you. You've got to have systems or processes for when you have a listing. What does that look like? And then for any lead generating activities you have, you've got to have systems and processes for that.
You've even got to have a system and process and like organize your calendar. Like, hey, when is your calendar available for, like, we've got clients, guys. We're still in the trenches like you guys. We still handle transactions. We still handle buyers and sellers. So, hey, when are we available for Zoom calls? Well, on that Calendly, we should have windows, right, that are predetermined where that's where we do that. Hey, when we're filming this video, like the one we're on right now, it was planned. So even a system and a process for yourself and how you go about your day, super big. The biggest point here, though, guys, is like when you start with yourself and you've got systems and processes for your clients, believe it or not, even if they don't ask for it, like that's what they want. They want advisement. They want leadership. They want someone to hold their hand, right? Take them by the hand and lead them through this process to make them feel like not only they're getting educated, but they're getting a great experience from this process and they're taken care of. And you're not taken care of if you're not organized and there's not a system and a process to everything, right? So number one, the ambiance, the atmospherics of how a client feels because of your approach, invaluable. All right, guys, number 5, you're probably expecting it. A lot of folks still fight this and either don't do it, or if they are doing it, it's completely wrong. Social media, right? So
Hot topic.
Hot topic. Now, a lot of folks are getting a little bit more comfortable. And by the way, YouTube, completely different beast. If you guys have questions, or if you want us to help you, team up and help you navigate some of that, cool. We'll show you on the back end some of our things like our YouTube channel. That YouTube channel creates 13 million plus in volume every month from people coming into Colorado that are buying, that are using our YouTube channel. We'll get into that more. Specifically, why we're not showing it to you guys on here is because it's not for realtors. So if I project out into these videos and everyone goes and looks at it, the algorithm is going to think that we're trying to attract agents.
Don't go find it.
No,
Don't
we're
go
not.
looking. Yeah.
Hey, so one-on-one when we talk, we'll show you guys hard numbers. We'll show you what we do. We'll educate you. Showing it to the masses through this, it's going to take away from clients. It's going to think that we're trying to attract agents. It's going to mess up the algorithm. Not good. However, this algorithm, more than okay for you guys to watch. And as you watch us twice a week, you're going to start picking up and putting down how we execute. And it's very similar to how we execute for our clients. But the bottom line is, YouTube, completely separate beast. And when we hit top 1% and then top 0.5% in the world for Berkshire Hathaway, it was not from our YouTube channel. This was prior, and we've never done leads. We've never done Zillow, realtor.com, none of that stuff. This was all relationship building with our audience, our friends and our family and our sphere, and then teaching agents how to do the same thing. Number one is social media. And even when you accepted that, hey, I'm going to do it, hey, cool, but then you're delivering what you're choosing to put out there isn't good, right? Like you want to show home and garden, right? Or you want to show some nice drapes, or hey, look at my open house, or hey, look at this house I'm seeing today. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Everyone knows you're a freaking realtor, okay? Why should they care? Because you're showing them an open house like Minecraft, walking around with your phone. Mildly interesting, borderline annoying.
Yeah,
if you are on camera,
annoying.
what could you be doing? So there's like 13 or 15 steps in a buyer presentation that we go over. Well, instead of showing somebody a walkthrough on an open house, could I get on camera and use those topics to speak to and just tell people on my social media what to expect during inspections? Could I get on camera and say, hey, what is earnest money and how to protect it? Now I'm educating people, right? So, hey, whether you're working with us or someone else, here's what you need to know about earnest money.
Yep.
Hey, in the state of Colorado, here's where your earnest money is protected. Here's when you are more than okay to fall out of contract on a home and get your earnest money back. I bet that's a lot more appealing. And I bet, hey, even though I'm not asking them to, hey, looking to buy or sell, just by us merely giving value is huge. And we did that every single week. It was consistent. So every single week, every Friday, this joker and I had a video on Facebook Live. And we talked about what was working, what was not working. We spoke about the market a little bit, but then we gave tips as far as education out there to buyers and sellers on what they should be looking for and how to be best prepared for their experience. And guess what? We started getting direct messages and comments in those videos because it wasn't me, Shay, look at my listing. Hey, look at this open house. That's not mine. No, that's all look at me versus let me give something to you on camera. What are we doing right now? We're giving you guys things for free of value on camera, right? So huge. Be a subject matter expert. Be a professional. Be a value add to someone's day. If they're going to stop and watch your video, do you think they want to watch you walk through hallways?
No.
Or could you pick a spot in a home that looks really great and maybe it's a nice kitchen? Hey, I'm at my listing today. We've got a ton of things going on, but hey, wanted to stop for a moment and just give you guys some food for thought on how to market a home properly before selling. Or hey, before you go live on the market, here's some tips you should be doing to your home. Wouldn't that be a lot more valuable to a consumer? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so find opportunities to be a value add, not just look at me. It's like, yes, hey, here's me, here I am, but here's what I want to give you today, and I want to give it for free.
Now, some of the absolute worst posts that I see, guys, is infographics and then data graphics that people just copy and paste from somewhere and then share. No one in your sphere cares to look at an infographic. They're going to scroll right by it. It's not attention getting enough. And then 10 times faster they're scrolling by if it is a bunch of real estate data that they don't know how to interpret. Here's where, if you're having a hard time coming
more
up
times
with
than
data,
not, you don't know how to interpret it.
100%.
Okay?
So what I was going to say is, when you guys are scrolling through that, maybe you're looking for content, and first of all, starting off with the buyer presentation segments, like he said, breaking that into multiple videos, phenomenal idea. What you guys can also do is, if you do see a post or something that maybe does have some valuable information that you'd like to get out there, instead of just putting the post up or the infographic that isn't going to get any attention at all, make a video about it. They gave you the content. Now you can regurgitate it in layman's terms to
and how it applies to your audience.
And how it applies to your audience. So, guys, if you see those posts, before you just reshare or post that on your Facebook as a lazy way of putting content out there, take a minute, look at it. I bet I could put this out in a video and it would get much more engagement, and show people your personality, show people your body language and your vibe. Like, and that goes a long way.
Not to cut him off, but to cut him off. The market's not for sale, right? Hey, listen to me. People are already bought in. Buying and selling homes is already a thing. People already want to do it. So if it's not the what, it's the who. People they know, like, and trust. The more you're on camera, the more you articulate well, the more you're a professional, the more you give, and you're a value add, the more people are interested in you and are more likely to speak to you about your side of the deal. Like you being a professional as far as a realtor. Ask, even if they're not quite ready to sell or buy, but they've got some questions. You're closing the gap with some folks. But the bottom line is, the more you're exposing who you are and what you're all about and where your value add is, the more they're going to feel like they can trust you to execute a deal versus like you throw something up that's mildly interesting about the market. Cool. Talk about this graph, okay? But how does it apply to the market, and what should people be expecting? Okay, it'd be the same thing as like when we watch the Weather Channel and you see a bunch of red, blues, and greens flying over the screen, but nobody's talking. Yeah, okay, is that snow? But
Something's
how much
going
snow
on.
and wind?
Yeah.
Is there wind? And hey, what should I expect? Like when it blows in, should I not be driving? Like what? Same thing with your infographic, okay? All right, guys, that's what we have for you today. Those are the top 5 things you should not be doing as a realtor. And again, guys, we are licensed brokers in the state of Colorado. We are looking to partner up with more folks that want to scale their business and ultimately learn how to scale their business and learn how to be a professional, right? And what does that mean? It means as much as we love making these videos, we would love more to do that partnership with you. So that number popping up below, we are the guys who answer the phone calls. We are the guys who answer the text messages. And yes, if you decide to email and share some of your story, we are the guys who respond to that email. So this is his part where he's going to tell you to subscribe.
Just about. In the meantime, guys, if you don't want to hit us up, but you want to dive into a little more of what we have to offer in a private setting, go to Facebook, search Legit Agents. We have a private page there. We'll put a link in the description below. So go meet up with us over there as well. We're on there at least once a week doing live video trainings and stuff like that. So you get to interact real time, which is pretty cool. But yeah, guys, if you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button at the bottom of the page here, along with that notification bell every Tuesday, every Thursday. Be a better agent. We'll see you guys next time.
Absolutely. And before we let it go, because I like to have the last word, you've probably seen our Instagram handles that have been popping up on the screen. Will_Grimes is mine. If you want to connect one-on-one, if you throw me a message on Instagram, yes, I will get back to you, even if it's in my filtered messages within 24 hours. And every Sunday, 6 p.m. Mountain District time, I do 90 minutes where I just take a docket of folks that would like a phone call. I FaceTime you on Instagram. I go over any questions that you may have to see if I can't push the needle forward in your business. So if that's something that you'd like, man, hit me up on Instagram. Let's have the conversation. Let's start getting your business moving forward. Until next time, see you guys in the next video.
See ya.